Hi, this is Joe again with another review. Instead of doing another movie, I won't be doing the DVD of the TV miniseries North and South, which includes all three movies. It's based on the John Jakes series North and South, which was North and South 1, 2, and 3. Of course, North and South 2 was actually titled Love and War, and North and South 3 was titled Heaven and Hell. But they're all made TV movies. And of course, there's a DVD for 1, the DVD for 2, and you can see it's the Love and War one, the bomb, and of course the third one called Heaven and Hell. And of course this series of course starred, at least the first two parts, starred Patrick Swayze in. All three starred, like I said, it's based on the John Jakes novels of the same name, and the same book series. And the first two miniseries aired back-to-back years. The first one's in the first series aired in 1985. The second series aired in 1986. And the third film, it took a long time to make the third film, and it didn't come air on television. It aired on CBS in 1984. And the first two series, North and South, and North and South 2, which was subtitled Love and War. Both those two series both aired on ABC, and the third series aired on CBS. And this is, really a very good Civil War miniseries. All three films. Well, the first film deals with, like I say, the first novel, the John Jakes role, North and South, was Patrick Swayze as Ori Main, James Reed as George Hazard, and they became friends in West Point. West Point contested before the Mexican-American War in the 1840s, and then they had this friendship for 20 years, and then of course the Civil War broke out, and Ori Main, who was played by Patrick Swayze, fought for the South, he fought for South Carolina, and George Hazard fought for the North. So you have those two families, one on each side of the line for the Civil War, and how it affected the friendship and how it affected both their families, and so on and so forth. And that's what the first film dealt with before the Civil War. Had the Mexican-American War, how they became friends at West Point, then they fought in the War with Mexico, and then of course after the war it dealt with the years before the Civil War broke out. And that's where they broke off their friendship in the first movie series. And of course the second series picks up when the Civil War started. And then of course after the Civil War ended, that's when the two friendship, they became friends again at the end of the second movie. And like I said, by the time the third film came out, it was like 8 years later. And the problem that I had with the third film was, of course, the fact that it was only a 3-part series. The other two mini-series was a 6-part series, so it takes a little long time to watch it and get through all the parts. And Patrick Swayze became a big star, particularly in the South, because for some reason North and South became a big hit in the southern states, and now throughout the whole country. And of course, when Patrick Swayze was filming Dirty Dancing, I think the second series aired, or just aired, when they were filming, when Dirty Dancing was being filmed. And of course, he was getting mounted at airports. Hey, there goes Ori Main, And I don't think over the years, Patrick Swayze was recognized as much as being North and South. Like James Reed was. James Reed still gets recognized as being as General Hazard all these years later, or 30 years later, he still gets recognized as General Hazard. But the series is still very good, and so is the documentary that goes on with it. It goes the history of North and South. I think it's about like a 30-minute documentary, which is on the trailer desk for the third film. But one thing I do like is that you have great actors in this film, not just James Reed and Patrick Swayze. But in the first series, you had David Carradine, and the ironic thing is that the two of the stars, David Carradine and Patrick Swayze, both died in the same year, for different reasons, of course. And both appeared in the first series, and then a little bit in the second miniseries. And then you had Kirstie Alley was in it. She was in the first two miniseries. You had Parker Stevenson, who was at the time her husband. You also had Jimmy Stewart, who was in North and South too. You had Peter O'Toole, who was in the third miniseries. So yeah, and of course in the second series you also had a lot of stars that appeared on ABC shows, ironically ABC shows. This is a series, the first two miniseries aired on ABC. You had Linda Evans, because it was on Dynasty, and you had Lee Horsley. It was also, I forgot what show he was on, but I know he was on an ABC show. So you had them in there. But of course the best villain throughout the whole three series was Philip Kassoff, who played Major Ben. And he was, the training officer in West Point for the Patrick Swayze and James Stewart and James Reed characters. And then West Point became the biggest villain in the whole miniseries. Who kills Patrick Swayze in the beginning, and the first 5 minutes of the third film. And that's one problem that I had with it, is that when he had the third film, Patrick Swayze, for some reason, he didn't want to do it. And I don't know if he was killed off in the novels, because I never read the novels. So I really can't compare the novels to the movies. But then the one major change was, in the novels, they had Patrick Swayze was his character was lost an arm and was playing in Mexico. But in the film, he injured his leg instead of his arm. Because that's through the rest of the series, you have to have his arm tied behind his back. And after, of course, fans, instead of paying attention to the story, they'll be looking, where's his arm? Where's his arm at? So they made that change. But other than that, it was a good, very good miniseries, the two series. And then, of course, the third one, I think for some reason Patrick Swayze didn't want to do it. So what they did was they used, by the time the third film was made, Patrick Swayze was already a big movie star. He already made Dirty Dancing. He made Ghost. And I don't know what other films he made. By the time the third series hit, so they used like stock footage, and they used like a body double. You never really saw his face. You saw like stock footage of Patrick Swayze in the house or something, and then the rest you saw saw a figure in shadow, and Ben came along and stabs him and kills him. And that's all you saw of Owen Main in the third film. It was like the first 5 minutes. That's it. It was character in the first 5 minutes, and the rest of the miniseries they talked about. So that was something right there. And for all you Star Trek fans, Jonathan Frakes, who played Commander William Riker in Star Trek: The Next Generation, appeared in this, plus his real-life wife, soap star Ginny Francis, because they played Laura in General Hospital, the famous Luke and Laura couple. So you have them in there. You also have Erica Gimple, who played Coco in the TV series Fame, appeared as a slave in here. And to warning all you people who get offensive with this word, they did use the word nigger throughout the series, throughout all 3 parts. So if you happen to be black and you get offensive with when people use the N-word, don't watch the series because they have the N-word. Well, not every 5 seconds, but enough that will bother you if you get offended. When a white person uses the N-word, you're going to get offended by watching this thing. So just a little warning. But the third film was not as good as the other 2 series because a lot of the actors who was in the first 2 series do not appear in the third series. Because a lot of them either had died or been killed or moved when the characters moved on to the other series and couldn't do it. Like Patrick Swayze, for example, he didn't do it. So you're going to have not that many characters involved in it. And in the third series, look for Chris Burke, who was born with Down syndrome, and he was in the third film along with Peter O'Toole, plus Steve Harris, who, of course, if you happen to be fans of the TV show The Practice, he's in the third film. Well, check out North and South. It is like one of the best, if not the best, of the TV miniseries of the Civil War. The other one being The Blue and the Gray, starring Stacy Keach, was also just as good, and also not as long. The Blue and Gray is not as long as this series is, but also just as good. So please check them out. And please like the video, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube page and Bobcat Joe Gutfelder, and hopefully you'll see more of my videos. Thank you for watching.